Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Everybody, and happy Mario week. Some Mario themed stuff going on because it's Mario Day earlier. Let's look at this cool, like flyby 80s graphic thing going on.
That's right. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. And speaking of vibes, it's time for Ask Engineer. Me, Ladyada, with me, Mr. Ladyada on camera control. We're going to go through the next hour of making, hacking, coding, gaming, and more. All the really cool stuff that's happening in the world of Adafruit.
Lots going on.
Lots going on, including discount codes, new products, and more. Let's kick it.
On tonight's show, the code is Alarmo. We're celebrating Mario Day, which was earlier this week, March 10th. Get it? M-A-R and 10. 10% off an Adafruit all the way up to 11:59 p.m. We'll talk about all the cool stuff we did with iFixit and a fun project that Ladyada showed off. Here's a little bit of a clue. Doom ahead. Talk about the show and tell. We just did show and tell a few minutes ago. You can check it out in all the places that we stream and more. It's stored up. We're going to watch it right after because we were doing it. Hard to watch it and also, yeah. Talk about some stuff from Desk of Ladyada. We have a special one that we did on
No great search
weekend. No great search this week, but it'll return soon. We'll do JP's product pick of the week. A little bit of time traveling. Like I said, we're doing some Mario Day stuff here. We've got some mailbag, some nice things to focus on it, either via email or on the socials. A little bit of open source hardware, including, of course, our Learn guides. We've got some 3D printing, fun vids, and more. Rapid render, when you can learn about our trial and error using tools to help you make 3D printing even easier. We've got some new products. We've got Top Secret. We answer your questions. We do that over on Discord, and we also have some questions that we stored up earlier in the day from around the web. Also go on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer. Okie dokie, Ladyada. In addition to the discount code, Alarmo, there's free stuff. Just add to cart.
Yep. You get $99 more.
Yeah.
You get a PCB coaster, $149. You get the KB 2040 and free shipping at $299 or more.
That's right. And if you're in New York, if you order before 11 a.m. and it's a zip code that is in the boroughs, you can get same day delivery. We don't have a retail store. There is Micro Center, but some people want stuff delivered to them. They can't make it to the Micro Center. We can get the stuff to you to New York in close areas. Desk of Ladyada is a show that we do every Sunday, and this weekend was a little different because it was all about Claude and Arduino automation. What chocolate peanut butter thing did you put together that was tasty or grotesque? Which was it?
It was both tasty.
A little bit of both?
Yeah, so I basically, Claude Code is now available for anyone to use, and it's a way of using an LLM that's really good at coding. But this time you can use it basically from the command line, and it can run shell commands that you approve for it to run.
What you're saying, it's like IRC.
It was like a weird IRC-esque interface. I got a lot of good curses stuff going on there with like iconography and stuff. But what's neat is you can, because it has access to the shell, like it can run shell commands. I had it write some Arduino code and then compile it and then fix any compilation errors and then upload it and then look at the output to make sure that the code it was writing did the right thing. So I had, a sensor connected to an Arduino, and it was able to Arduino compatible, and it was able to do the full loop of like writing code, fixing any compile time issues or whatever, uploading it, and fixing any output issues. And actually, it works. Look, you still have to be there as the pilot. It's just a co-pilot for you. But it was really neat to see hardware development automation with a full feedback loop.
So back in the day when Make Magazine was getting started, and Tim O'Reilly or Dale would talk about like how are some things becoming mainstream. Like
Yeah.
people were doing Wi-Fi before it was called Wi-Fi.
Right.
You had this gigahertz that you network that you could do stuff, and then eventually now like it's so common, everyone assumes everything has Wi-Fi. It's not even a question anymore. I feel like watching how you're using some of these tools during your work is what is about to happen with everyone else. Like it's not this generative like slop. There's a lot of doomers. Anytime there's any mention of this stuff, it's like, oh, you're the worst. But there's tools that have been around for a while. This is just kind of, I think, the next step for someone like you. Like it's the most amazing autocomplete with natural language like guidance. Like it's doing all the stuff that is very tedious for you. You get to spend more time on the fun stuff.
Yes.
Which is, I thought, the point. Not.
It is the point.
Yeah.
I get to write poetry in my spare time
Instead of the AI doing it.
Yeah, I just look, I just don't want to do as much typing. I don't want to. I just tell it what I want, and it does the very tedious work.
Yeah.
It's very repetitive.
It'll be neat when people can bridge something like Circuit Python and have it do things like moving robot arms and natural language.
I mean, we're getting there.
LLMs. Yeah,
you have sensor input over serial. I mean, there's no reason it couldn't do like motor control feedback either.
Yeah. Alrighty, and then of course we'll be returning probably this weekend. We'll see. There's a lot going on, a lot of exciting stuff. And then there is JP's product pick of the week. We do those on Tuesdays. Here is this week's highlight.
It is the DAC 6578 10-bit 8-channel I2C digital to analog converter breakout. It's the DAC 6578 breakout. It's connected over I2C. And then I've just run common ground and each of those analog pins to their own socket there. So I've plugged in patch cables to those. Those are then running up to different channels on this little Eurorack synthesizer. We have this nice smooth sine wave at the top and then a faster one at the bottom. Just the first one, you might be able to see the pitch, the relative pitch going up and down of that note. And the bottom is the envelope. 4 channels of control voltage coming in here, playing 4 different notes, and we have 4 channels of that amplification. It is the DAC 6578. It is an 8-channel, 10-bit digital to analog converter breakout with I2C.
Alrighty, and tune into JP's workshop tomorrow for all the things you showed off on the show and tell and more. Speaking of, a lot of folks were on the show and tell, and we'll be able to, I guess we could recap it, but I kind of feel like you just got to watch it this week. 3D Hangouts, it's every Wednesday. And then this Friday, Deep Dive with Tim. That's where you get to learn about all the innards of CircuitPython. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of neat stuff in matrices.
Games.
Yeah.
Mouses.
All right,
nice.
let's time travel. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go into the time machine. It was Mario Day. Happy Mario Day earlier. It was March 10th. And what did we do? Well, we teamed up with iFixit, and we was a 2-parter, a collab, as they say in the biz. And what we did was we looked at their video. Of course, we planned this in advance, and we looked at them taking apart and all the things. And then you did your like deeper dive in the components more, and then you showed how to do a bit of a hack.
Not hacking without even having to open up the key.
Yeah, and so they have, I'm going to show another video in a second. They have the best photos of things.
They have really good lighting. Yeah,
and they're they're a good cause and good business. Shout out to iFixit. But this is this thing that they can do stuff with called LumaField.
It's like X-ray. Yeah.
And like this is so cool.
It is cool.
I love this. And they're like, there's a lot of space inside this thing. You could see like how.
Well, that space. First off, it physically it can't be skinny. It has to sit flat.
And then.
But also, you want the speaker to have a cavity. And then I actually did like a more engineering teardown where I talked about not just what the components are, but why they picked them, what they're good for, ways you could reuse it, ways you could upgrade it, and then also showed how you can crack the internal firmware so you can sideload code onto it.
Yeah, and do you know what's better than Doom?
What?
Ladyada with Doom.
Yay! I look so tired.
Yeah. For me, this is awesome. This is twice as much Doom. For other people, it's like, oh no, twice as much Doom.
Yeah.
So
You
anyways,
can run Doom on it, and you can actually play it too. It uses the little rotary encoder as
Yeah.
the mouse,
You can
the directional.
so that's why we had some of this costuming and stuff. I got these like party favors, so we had some props. You know, we have a green screen right here now, so it's kind of hard to see.
Interesting.
Oh, look at that!
Green
It's kind of
screen,
clear.
it's yellow. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
this is,
that's
hey, look,
so
this is like a
fun.
magic trick. Da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
Okay.
Disappearing Phil.
What?
Disappearing Phil.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Okay,
so let's go to the mailbag.
let's go.
Letters. We get letters. We get tweets.
Letters. We get
Letters.
things on Blue Sky, squeezes. I don't know what they're called. Special thanks to TJ. Put out this very nice workshop photo of this is so cool. So one of the things that you'd probably want to do in a community is figure out how do you get all the information out of the transit system and put it in all sorts of different displays. This is good for everyone involved because
Yeah.
people take public transportation. So this was East Side Urbanism Transit Tracker Build Party, and this is what they made. So
Oh.
yeah, so if you want to build your own, they put everything on GitHub. It's all open source, and what a nice shout out. And thank you to Adafruit for the excellent plug and play.
Interesting to use the Matrix portal, not
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi, which is usually what people use because the API sucks. I wonder if they made like a little API.
Well, guess what? It's
thing.
open source. We're
I
going to be able
gotta
to check it out later. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what a cool, great thing. This is what we were talking about with Jepler, who's retiring from doing stuff as a professional programmer here with Adafruit. He'll probably do projects and stuff. But I was saying it's like the type of open source that you do, you get back so much more than you get.
Yeah.
Because now that's like, hey, I saw how great it was that Adafruit did open source. We're going to do it. These are other things for maybe even other communities with transit.
Yeah.
And then all the stuff that Jeff did is fueling so many CircuitPython projects and so many other projects. Yeah, it's so cool.
Very
Okay. Let's speaking of, let's do a little bit of Python on hardware. Okay, before we get into the newsletter, a little bit of news about CircuitPython.org.
Give me a reason.
Folks, it's been acquired by Qualcomm. No, yeah, we just
What are you saying?
no, it's not nothing like that. We're doing a site redesign. Our wonderful journey. We're going to spend more time with our family. We're getting
Turning into an AI startup.
we're getting no. This is all crafted by humans.
I know.
We're putting a new coat of paint, more stuff on the site. This is what the
Certification.
design is, but it's gonna look like this soon. So just get ready. That was a little sneak peek.
Yep.
But we also want to say congratulations
To
Anne, who has been working on the Adafruit Daily newsletter. I started a million years ago. But Anne has a very nice note here that's thanking everyone for subscribing. We just hit exactly 12,000.
12,000, which is a lot.
A huge. This is and just like okay.
Can I say thank you for using the lower K because that means 1,000, whereas the uppercase K means 1024. So
Yeah, we usually get it right.
Good, we get it right.
Yeah, and if we don't, you know what? People will tell us nicely, and then the next time it'll be right.
Mhm.
This is probably because I didn't get it right one time.
No, I think.
But we also have, Anne might have did the request, and Anne's really good at grammar and punctuation.
That's why she.
Hence editor.
Hence editor.
So one of the neat things about this is we don't have any way for you to get this newsletter unless you really want it. It's on a separate website, adafruitdaily.com. You have to subscribe to it. We don't do any sales, or we don't do anything with your email address. A completely separate website from Adafruit Store Experience. And then you can also not even subscribe. You can get it on RSS. You can get it on a blog post. You can get it on GitHub. You can get it on whatever other way that data goes to other things, probably. So I think that means there's even more than just 12,000, of course.
Dude, people are. I actually, what's interesting is I read it on the website.
Yeah, I like to read it on the website too. So check out the latest. A ton, of course. Sean's doing some tutorials on
Zephyr,
which is
Zephyr. Great time to learn it.
new hotness. Everybody should learn it.
Go learn it.
And
then I like this because we just did a bunch of hacking.
At least be aware of it.
Zephyr, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did also. There's a lot of guides on
Agnes.
not just the learning system,
Yeah.
but on playgrounds. I like this composite video hack because we did PIO, we've been done like PIO for RGB matrices on the Raspberry Pi 5, right? Which is cool. I think this uses PIO, and also we've been doing HSTX DVI output on the RP2350. So seeing more weird, cool video displays, and this looks like a really nice, solid composite output. You can get your Sony monitor out and have it support.
And we've got, is an Intel N100 better than a Raspberry Pi? They're comparing things as, in the end, this is a lot about Python. Which one can you run Python on? Integration with Copilot and different IDEs. I think one of the things that we're going to see soon too is some of these AI tools and the way you're working with them possibly have like, here's a VS Code Copilot Arduino thing that kind of goes in. We'll see. It'll be interesting how people will do development as more and more code is getting completed for you and where they're doing it. So anyways, do check it out and more. That is the celebration of 12,000 people. And once again, we're getting a new coat of paint and more functionality and more cool things on CircuitPython.org. Check it out. And that was Python on hardware. Yeah, I was supposed to do this little graphic thing and then mailbox each week.
You know what I mean.
Okay, let's do some open source hardware. Let's talk about the guides, Ladyada.
Yes.
We've got guides. Guides. I think we got guides.
Yeah, we've got this NyanCat guide that went live on the RP2350. The video for the microdata refinement terminal, that video went live. I've actually haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to watch it live with you guys in a few minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
Brent has the no-code whippersnapper tutorial up. So whippersnapper is a way of doing no-code IoT sensor input and PWM or LED or whatever motor output, but now it can run offline as well, which is kind of neat. So you can make standalone data loggers without writing any code. And then we're doing more projects testing out HSTX. So this is a HSTX Metro RP2350 project to make NyanCat, and I think either uses a button or a keyboard. And then Liz did a guide for that PCM 5100 I2S stack that people are like
cool stuff.
How many guys are we up to?
Oh, well, we'd have to go on the other page. So let's go there. Not on this page because
it's infinite.
Yeah, so I don't believe we put it at the bottom of this here. Oh no, we do.
You do.
It's 3,159.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
We did 3,000. I was like,
I remember it was 300. And we had to get under these like these suits. And they were red capes, and I had a sword, and we had to fight back. Oh no, that was a movie. 300. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was so confused. So
this is
Playground. This is Playgrounds. Here is a node-based CAD add-in for Fusion 360. Let me get this screen over here.
Yeah, okay.
So these are where you can put all of your guides and more. This is C3PO, Take the Wheel. If you wanted to build a fun little make code project here, you could check out this and more. Digital clock with Wi-Fi and weather. And then
people liking the ESP32S3 with built-in TFT. It's like a top.
It is.
Top design.
It's popular. So that is, of course, the guides and more for the week.
Okay.
Let's do some 3D printing. Okay, we've got a bunch of stuff. We've got this project that Liz worked on. She shot a video. We've got this speed up, and then we've got rapid render. So we're going to play them one after the other. We'll see you in about 5 minutes on the other side.
Yeah.
Welcome to Lumen Industries, making life better for all humankind since 1865. In your service to Lumen as a severed employee, you will partake in the macro data refinement department. You will work on your newly designed terminal that allows for portability on the severed floor. The terminal is running on a Raspberry Pi 5 with a Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2. The macro data refinement program is written in Python. The chassis is 3D printed with exciting features, like a carrying handle, mount for all of the electronics, and a track for a sliding acrylic door. The sliding door reveals a convenient storage compartment for your trackball mouse and any small perks you wish to carry with you on the severed floor. As you roll your mouse through the forest of mysterious and important numbers, they will seemingly jump out of the way of the cursor's path. Along with the visual cue of the increased movement of the targeted numbers, you'll be greeted with a low rumble that builds in intensity thanks to the haptic motor breakout included in this model. You'll use the left click button to draw a box to isolate the numbers and send them to their final bins. The right click button lets you toggle between the macro data refinement program and a playful, bouncing Lumen logo screensaver. Toggling also saves your progress on your macro data file. The power button on the side of the chassis lets you safely shut down the terminal after a long day of refining. Severed or not, you can find all of the resources you need to build your own portable macro data refinement terminal at learn.adafruit.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rapid Render. Pedro, what do you got for us this week?
All right, this week we're going to be taking a look at this really cool image generator. It allows you to sketch, and then from that sketch, it'll generate a 3D object. And you can even add a text prompt on what you want the object to be. So it has a really cool little sketching portion of the app. They also have it in the browser. So I was able to sketch, of course, continuing on with the Severance theme. Try to sketch up one of the terminals that they have with the arm holding up the display. And it has a little eraser and the little pencil that you can draw with. Just like the Wacom tablet to draw. And then gave it a little product description to have it generate some 3D images. And here's what it came up with. Really cool variants of what the drawing was showing. So we have one here, and it allows you to go ahead and edit, thumbs up, share it, or create more variants of it. So I wanted to test out what that looked like in terms of editing something that it generated. It gives you a little eraser so you can go in and tell it, oh, okay, this little additional platform isn't really needed for the keyboard since it's being held up by that arm. So it gives you an erasing tool to go ahead and delete portions of the image that it generated.
I love how the enclosure has like this skewed box. Like it matches almost too close to your sketch, you know?
Yeah.
Where the perspective is wrong. So it kind of is
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
Right.
So I told it to go ahead and regenerate it with the edits, and here's what it came up with. Anybody in the audience, what text prompts do you think we should put in here to have it generate something?
Let's do a portable handheld game console featuring a compact design, ergonomic grips, and a prominent crank on the side. It has a vibrant screen and colorful buttons for gameplay interaction.
That's so I like how it inserts additional.
Like, let me help you with that. Let me spell
so
you and like also
that's super cool.
Give me some more color. Can I get some more color on that? Very markety, right? Oh, wow. And here you go. Here's a bunch of game console ideas with a crank. I don't see a crank, but I do see a rotary encoder.
Yeah, maybe that's what it thinks the crank is.
Cool. So as a tool for like ideating and coming up with concepts, this is really useful, I think, because like sometimes I'll scroll hours on Pinterest or Instagram for like shape ideas, and now I can like kind of generate shape ideas, I guess.
Time is pretty fast too. Dude, it works. Wow. I mean, the D-pad's super messed up though.
Yeah.
It looks different than what it showed us as the picture.
It does. Like, it'll give you a nice looking render, but then when you make it a 3D model, it's like, here's some garbage.
Pretty dang cool.
Yeah, especially if we're like coming up with something new. Like we were working on a TV show. It's like, all right, let's do that.
Yeah, go check it out. What did I say? It is
Yeah, getleo.ai.
AI.
And that's this week's Rapid Render. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, let's remind everybody of the code. One more 10% off in the store, all the way up to 11.59. Don't forget, there's free stuff, and you can save $1 or $2. Ladyada, let's go to new products. New.
A lot of stuff from Pimoroni this week. So first off, we've got the Teeny 2350. It looks a little bit like a cutie pie, but I'll say it's not the same pinout. But it's still got the same idea. It's got like a stemma QT port at the end. It's got the USB-C. It's very compact. It's easy using a breadboard, castellated pads, or just solder directly to it. And on the bottom, did we get the bottom photo? Oops, we did not get yet. But on the bottom is an RP2350, which is the latest dual core chip from Raspberry Pi. Is also a cool coin with Vera Rubin on it. Button and reset, and a little RGB LED on the top. So it's a really compact board, but really, really good for when you need like a lot of power. It's got, I think, 2 megabytes of flash. It's got the built-in 520K of SRAM. It's very compact, and you can like plug in Stemma QT or quick sensors very easily into it to make your project sensorified or add OLEDs or whatever. Next up. So another board that we got from Pimoroni this week is the Pico Plus 2, which I really like. So if you like the Pico, and who doesn't, right? It's low cost, it's powerful, it's got the RP2350 or RP2040 on it. But maybe you're like, well, I want like a reset button. Like I really wanted a reset button. Maybe you want more stuff. Maybe you want a Stemma QT port. Maybe you want PSRAM. Maybe you want like what they call a spice connector, which is like SPI. So this is the same pinout and shape as the Raspberry Pi Pico 2, but instead of micro USB, it's got USB-C. It's got both buttons for boot and reset. Wow. It's got the 2350B, which is the bigger chip version. And what that means is that we can have all the pins that you would expect for the Pico, and then all the extra ones can connect to more peripherals. So for example, there's an I2C port available. It's labeled Quist. We also have a debug port on the right. And then on the bottom of the board, we have, I think, 128. So it's 16 megabytes of QSPI flash. It's got 8 megabytes of PSRAM. It's got that spice connector, which is used by Pimoroni for their like SPI interfaces. But you still, and like the boot button is also a user input. And I think there's also an RGB LED in there.
Okay.
Check out the specs. I haven't memorized them all, but there's a lot. And what's nice is that it's like, it will work with any projects that expect a Pico. You just plug this in instead.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're like, well, I like that, but what about the Pico 2W, which had Wi-Fi?
Righty, that is this one?
This one.
This one.
Yeah. So they also made a version, and it looks exactly the same on the top, but on the bottom, it has, yes, it's just like that.
Yeah.
Pico 2W, but on the bottom, they kind of shifted things around a little bit. They don't have that SPI CE connector, but they do have an RM2 module, which you're like, what is that? That's the chip that contains the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth Classic and Bluetooth LE chip that's on the Pico 2W, like it's their internet connectivity chip. So now you've got, again, the same thing that's the same shape and size as the Pico 2W, but it's got 8 megabytes of PSRAM, which is great for Wi-Fi projects. It's got 60 megabytes of QSPI flash. It's got debug port. It's got the Stemma QT port, boot button reset, and it has all the pin and USB-C and same pin compatibility as the Pico. So two flavors.
Okay. Next up from Pimoroni.
Okay, another thing that we got from them. This is really neat. So this is like, it was designed for, I think, like Lego brick hacking, but it's also just a really handy little board that has a Pico RP2350. I think it's a 2350. And on the bottom, maybe it's a 2040. Sorry. It's got flash memory, and then it has the RM2 module, again, that provides it with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Bluetooth Classic. And on the other side, it's this very compact board, and it has these little JST SUR connectors. And I guess these are kind of standard for use with people who are doing like Lego brick model or like brick models, and they want to have LEDs, not neopixels, but like an RGB LED or like monocolor LEDs, but you could also have speaker output, and you can also have STEMMA QT or Quick, and then there's also a sensor. So you get a full kit with this one.
There's a lot of stuff going on here.
So you get that board, which is like the meat of the matter, right? And then you get the USB cable. You've got the speaker. This is the RGB LED. So there's one RGB LED that plugs in, and it's just like PWM. I think this is a multiplexer for STEMMA QT or for multiple LEDs. This is a PIR sensor, which is a very small and cute. So when you move past something, it turns on. These are the individual LEDs. And there's RGB LEDs, but you get, I guess that's a multiplexer, so you can control multiple of them at a time. Yeah, each one, I guess, can be controlled individually. And the driver board. So it comes with some example code already on it that makes it like do cool stuff. But you can program it in Arduino or CircuitPython or MicroPython. And like we support all the stuff in CircuitPython. So especially if you want to do your model hacking and you want to like customize the display, like when you move by it, maybe like the lights turn on in your little model house or your model spaceship or your little like Christmas tree display. This little board will fit in anything and is very powerful. But it's very compact.
All right. Next up, the star of the show, besides you, Ladyada, the entire community of folks out there, our team, and then shout out to, of course, our friends at iFixit. What a great week to celebrate. People like taking apart stuff. What is this new product of the week?
Okay, our product of the week is the TPS 65131. This is a split boost power supply, which I needed for some floppy disk hacking because I needed a negative 12 volt power supply. And I was like, it's actually really hard to get negative voltages when you need to do project hacking, unless you want to do like weird floating supplies and you connects the positive to the ground. What this does is you can give it the VN, which is 3 to 5 volts, and then you'll get 2 output voltages, one on the left, which is positive, one on the right, which is negative. And then there's 2 trimmer pots in the top corners there that you can adjust the voltage from between 6 volts approximately to 15 volts and negative 6 volts to approximately negative 15 volts. I'll say the trimmers are like not, they're like 10%. So that 6 volts might be like 5.5 or like 6.25, when you twist it all the way to the left. And the 15 might be like 15.5 or 14.5 all the way on the right. But basically you can adjust the voltage. It's meant for like about 12, but you can tweak it up and down if you need plus or minus 10, plus or minus 13. You'll get about 100 milliamps out from each rail. So good for stuff like synthesizers, negative bias generators for OLEDs and TFTs, other like scientific sensors, old TTL electronics. Not good for motors. Like you would not drive a motor from this. Or sometimes you want from a battery, you want 24 volts and then you want also plus 12 or something, this could kind of get you something there. Sorry, 150 volts from each rail. You can actually get a little bit more, but I kind of measured it with like about 4.5 volts in, 12 and negative 12 out, and I got about 150. It will overheat. So maybe if you cool it off, you can get a little bit more. Again, not for motor control, but good for, especially if you have old electronics that were expecting a transformer-based power supply and the transformer broke because it's got old and it started cracking or vibrating, or you just want to run it off batteries, you could do it with a split boost supply.
All right, and that is new products. You got to go to Larmo. 10% off a native restore all the way up to midnight-ish. And then, of course, all the free stuff. And if you're in New York, you could do same-day delivery tomorrow. But, I'll give you a little bit of a secret. The code will be active in the morning if you want to do that, too. Let's go to the next part of the show, which will be top secret. And then we'll do your questions. I didn't get the question images in time, but I think I can, show them via another app thing here on this broadcasting
We're going
session.
to do this live.
We're going to do it live. So let's do some top secret first, okay?
Sure.
All right, what's this?
First up, we've got the Sen 6X adapter. So the Sen 55 and 54 are these cool Sensorion sensors that have like everything built in. It's like temperature, humidity, CO2, gas, particle, whatever. It's like everything in one. They're very cool. They're easy to implement, but you do need a little adapter if you want to connect it to a STEMMA QT port. The new Sen 66, I think, also adds carbon monoxide. I don't remember. It adds something else, maybe nitrogen sensing. Maybe it has better CO2. I don't remember exactly what the deal is. But the Sen 66 has more, and it also doesn't require 5 volts. So you do need to tweak the design a little bit. This will give it a 3-volt solid power supply and level shifting, plus that cable that comes with. So if you have a Sen 5X, use the one we've already stocked. If you've got the Sen 6X, wait, we'll have this breakout board and it will make it very easy for you to connect these sensors to your microcontroller or Raspberry Pi.
All right. Here is the next thing. What is this?
Okay, so I have this frustration where we have these devices that use USB-C for power, but they use a USB-A to C converter cable because they don't have the proper PD resistors, which I think we've all decided was a mistake by the USB consortium. They should have just like said, what if people forget him? Like it should still work. But anyways, it doesn't. So it doesn't work if you plug it into like a Mac. It doesn't work if you plug it into like a proper USB PD power supply. I think a lot of people have devices like this. So this is a little like doohickey that has, like you can't see the socket port. It's like a sunken port, but it's like halfway through. And then there's a plug and it adds the two 5.1K resistors that you need and also has an LED to let you know that it's working. And then you just plug it onto your cable, you plug it into the device and now it'll work with anything. So, instead of saving, like they saved like 0.002 cents by not having these resistors, well, we'll have a product for you.
Okay.
I wish they'd not made that mistake though.
Top secret. That was it. Okie dokie. So I'm going to start you off with the questions that I can read off, and then I'm going to get this app thing so I can show them. And then you'll just have to, if it's not a question that you want to answer, just skip it.
Yeah.
We'll just go back to the later. So let's get to
Questions.
Okay.
I think I'll look at them.
It's fine. Yeah.
I can look at them. All right. So the first question of the evening is, how about you start explaining this while I get some things going here? Can you just explain what negative voltage is?
Negative voltage. Well, usually you have a ground reference, which sometimes is the same as Earth, like literally the Earth. And then you have a positive voltage that's above it. So like 99.9% of things that you deal with have a positive, compared to Earth or ground voltage. But if you have, there are some unusual devices that for whatever reason, mechanical, electrical, chemical, they need a voltage that is below the ground reference. And it's very rare because usually we think of ground as being 0 and you only want things above. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of like a good analogy. It's like, like rivers flowing the opposite way. Like usually they flow to the ocean. They don't flow the other way. But once in a while, there's like a really weird thing. So it's usually used for, I've seen sensing devices. Sometimes you have op amps that really want positive or negative rails. So if you have like a signal that is ground referenced, but it's like centered on the ground, you'll need something negative in order to interface with that voltage. And so that's why you've got that negative voltage generator.
You can see us to infinity back there because
Oh yeah?
yeah, because
Oh, that's the interface. That's what happens in the background.
yeah, so here's some questions that we can
Okay.
do and answer. So you can start to read these off a little bit.
Okay. I cannot.
Yeah, but I'm going to put it right here for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's do the first one.
Okay.
And then folks can kind of see it as
Okay.
well.
How can I combine multiple LEDs into one LED? I want a bigger grid, for example. So you can actually, with WLED, you can like add multiple grids and it has the built-in 2D software and will handle it for you. You can say like, I want to have multiple grids connected. Especially with Sparkle Motion, you have multiple outputs. You can have one grid per output too.
Okay, so next up, let's go to question number 2. Oops, sorry.
Okay.
Boop.
Okay. So what do I do to pursue a career in engineering? They're graduating with CS and they want to do Arduino and circuit design. but they don't have any EE programs. Your stuff was yes. I sympathize. The first school I went to, BU, also did not have an EE program that they would let me take, so I could take CS. Good news, CS is really essential for EE. I would say use your CS degree, which will teach you about, hopefully about like programming and about computer architecture, and play with microcontrollers and devices like a Raspberry Pi, because your basis in CS will let you know how to program firmware and software that you can then add sensors with. And then as you start building projects, you will naturally just be like, oh, I can make a PCB for this project, but just start by like plugging things together.
All right. Next up, so if you can read this one.
They have a TFP401 and they want the TFP410 that encodes from 40 pin to HDMI. That's actually a really good question. I was actually thinking about that because you've got devices like the ESP32S3 that can drive like a 40 pin. And so you could convert that to DVI. The only thing is the TFP, it's kind of expensive. And I think there's cheaper chips. So I don't have a design, but yeah, you could do it with a TFP 401. I bet DigiKey has a eval board you could use for the 410.
Next up.
Okay.
Oh.
Will the generic 64 megabit PS RAM in the store upgrade the original Metro RP2350? Yes, it is the same exact board. You can just solder in the PS RAM, but like we just have one version with it pre-soldered in. If you put in the PS RAM, it'll magically just work.
Okay, next up, this is from one of JP shows. Is it possible to program this so it can move the mouse cursor up and down? This is from the rotary Trinky.
Yes, you can. There's I think even an example in CircuitPython on doing that.
Okay, next up, could you use this wick as a wire?
You could. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Anything's a wire, sort of.
Well, if it's conductive.
Yeah. Next up, I tried to build an MP3 player with RP0. Wanted to use wired headphones. Is there a way to do this with the DAC with headphones, or exist other boards with integrated amp?
Yeah. It is not designed for headphones. We're working on making one that can do headphones, but this one cannot. Honestly, I would use one of our USB to headphone adapters. We have one. It's a couple bucks. And then you get the USB to micro USB adapter. And then you plug it in. It'll just show up as a headphone output and audio. And it will just like magically work.
Okay.
It works with headphones.
All right. And then, of course, do the letters come in an ultra really annoying blue?
No, they come in an ultra not annoying warm white.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to the question logo. We've got some questions that came up here.
Okay.
So you talked about negative voltage. This one, I can answer both of these. This person ordered some Adafruit items from Mauser. They added a tariff to the order. Are they aware that you're based in the US? I tried to have a polite dialogue with them, but couldn't get anywhere. Here's one of the times that I would say you're going to have to talk to Mauser. They probably wouldn't want me to try to solve a thing on their side. Here's what I will say. I do think we probably have to cut everybody a little bit of slack because this is all happening like real time. And so you can always get a refund later if they did something, but I think you could also...
so no Adafruit products should have a tariff applied to them.
Yeah, so...
We've paid all tariffs for you.
Yeah, that being said though, you never know, because like, here's what we don't know behind the scenes. Maybe your company's registered in another country. Maybe it's a different type of account. Who knows? There's so many things, or it was a mistake, or. So I want to give them the chance to make sure. I can never assume anything. So keep trying. And if they really never get back to you, you can email me, pt@adafruit.com, and I can pass it along like, hey, community member would, just take a look at it. Okay. And then someone said, you always talk about manually turning off discount code. Why don't you program in a timer? I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because once in a while, computers don't do something important.
What?
Yeah.
No.
And I feel like
I just gave code root access.
I have like rituals to make sure like we've been doing this show for almost 20 years, if not 20 years. There's things that I do to make sure everything is complete. Also like some Adafruit stuff, and there's also like We Hang Out. There's also our Kid Now. So there's a lot of things that's like, if I have this that I do each time, then I can do it. But if I have an automatic timer and I just set it and forget it, there will be like a server outage, a daylight savings time thing. There might be, time might be banned. I don't know. I don't know.
Also, you look at the code before and after you implement it just to make sure, like, is it correct?
I do, and
It's
also
really easy to to screw up.
you know what the real reason is, because I used to be all of Adafruit customer support. I used to also be all of Adafruit shipping, and our CSP team. If I forget a discount code or something like that, they'll go through and refund each order that someone did in
so
advance. It's tedious, and then
time consuming.
yeah, it's like we try to do everything right, so you live and learn. So that's why that little extra bit of time and me doing it, it's always paid off, and it also lets me have a ritual to like make sure there's like the following things are done after a show is broadcasted. Any plans for Friday 314 Pi Day? I'm gonna set up a telescope to look at that blood moon thing. That's what I'm gonna try to do. Okay, and then here's a bigger question here. I want to power a small board with a super cap, so I have enough time to run some shutdown stuff like sending some IR commands, which don't have to run to completion. So I figure I need to limit inrush current, and I also want the microcontroller to have brownout detection. I know where the power goes away, so it could start the shutdown process. Basic idea is power device from a TV. When the TV goes on, check to see if the device is on. If not, send the IR command. If it is, go to sleep. Loop forever, checking the status. So power TV gets shut down. SuperCap provides enough power to send the IR shut command to the remote device that's not already turned off. Will that work? I guess that's the question. It's clever, interesting.
So I don't think it'll work because super caps are for the size you need in order to like blast 100 milliamp IR LED. I know it's a little counterintuitive, but I would actually have a coin cell or like 9-volt battery or something as a backup, and you don't use that for power, but you dynamically switch over to it. Like when you lose power, like you have to, a power switch or diode, and then you detect when it's switched, and then you have all the time in the world. I think you're going to just be so sad if you use a super cap, and then depending on humidity and temperature and like whatever, super caps are cool, but I've rarely seen them used successfully.
All right.
It's usually very sad.
Someone wants to know ARM or RISC. I don't think you have to choose or.
You have RP2350, you get both.
You get both.
Get both.
Why not both? All right. Well, I'm putting the discount code in all the chats and all that, and then the plans was for 314 Pi Day. Do you have anything besides this telescope?
I think
thing
we have a discount code, don't we, for Pi Day?
For Pi Day on our website, we probably do. I thought they meant
do.
maybe they're asking us what we're doing.
Well, I think Adafruit's having a discount code. However, don't hold me to that.
Probably, maybe.
Because
see,
I'm not 100% sure.
And I'm not in charge of turning that one on or off. So
that's right. See?
Okay, with that, them's our questions. We have to turn in because we got a lot of stuff going on. But we're doing everything.
Yes,
we're doing
it's been a busy day.
Them's the questions. Let me get this.
Questions.
Okay, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
That's our show. Thanks so much for joining us. We very much appreciate all the time you've spent with us this evening. This has been an Adafruit production. Here's Rosina.
Good night.
Bye.